still have one vacancy. Is that right, Matt?
Yes, that's correct.
And Damien's not here.
I do not see him on today. But it looks like maybe Red is on here twice.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with my thing. It's kicked me out twice as well. So just be
okay.
Be prepared for that. I was having trouble getting it.
I was too.
So okay, well I guess everybody.
Yeah, I think some of that was because we were the previous meeting we had for workshop lasted a long time, so I wasn't able to get this meeting started. So that's why everyone was having trouble joining.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, except Rhett, we were trying to kick him off.
Well, it's about nap time. It's getting dark out there.
I know.
Well, are we gonna say that this is who we are and this is who we got? I guess we have enough to carry on. And then let's see here. It looks like I would imagine for the most part, I recognize two names immediately of applicants present. So one would believe, I think we probably got about everybody. If there's no other comments, we'll go ahead and get started then. Let's see here. This being the December 7th, 2020 meeting of Georgetown Board of Adjustments. The first item of business would be to peruse and or approve the minutes from last meeting. And Matt, I guess I'll have to come by and probably sign last month still. I'm not sure. I can come by tomorrow. I'm only working a half day tomorrow. And I'll bring you this one as well.
That worked just fine.
Well, seeing as there wasn't a whole lot to cover last month, all the minutes seem to be in order. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as they're written, unless anybody else has any disagreement.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. We'll move that to a vote. All those in favor of approval of the minutes?
Aye.
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 All right. Sounds good. Seeing as there is no old business, we'll move on into new business. And Mr. Matt, if you would go ahead and take us through this first application.
Thank you. The first application, the project site is located at 1502 Oxford Drive, more specifically in Suite 200. The applicant has applied for a variance to allow a wall sign on a non-road frontage side of the building. As I'm sure you all recall, since these type of applications come up somewhat frequently, typically in the way the sign ordinance reads, wall signs are only permitted on the sides of commercial buildings that face public or private streets. It is somewhat, I'd say we see applications somewhat frequently for variances to that, depending on the situation at hand. In this building in question, in fact, received such a variance back in 2015 for a different tenant of the building to have a wall sign on the south side. The project site is zone B2, is about 1.1 acres. So this is an aerial view showing the building. As you can see, if you can see my mouse, we've got Oxford Drive here, and then Cherry Blossom Way is along the back. The applicant is looking to place a wall sign here on this northern facing frontage of the building. They feel as though that better suits their purposes for directing people to the building, because you can kind of see here in this utility strip or the grass strip between the parking lot and the road, there are trees that are planted there, which in the summertime, springtime, the leaves make it difficult if you're traveling along Oxford Drive to maybe see those signs very clearly. The applicant also points out that the main access to the site is through this driveway here to the north. So as people turn in, they can then see on that north facing side of the building very clearly that, they are headed in the right direction towards their intended destination. This was an exhibit that was provided by the applicants, kind of showing some of the same things. You've got Oxford Drive here, and they pointed out that there is the shared driveway down here that access the primary entrance for that site, just sort of re-emphasizing that some of those same visibility issues that I mentioned before. Going through the staff report, I don't think approval of the application would adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare, or alter the character of of any of the properties in the general area. I find that it meets the requirements that state statute lays out and as addressed by the applicant in their supporting materials. So I am recommending approval of the application with the 3 conditions listed there on the screen and in your staff report, all 3 of which are pretty straightforward. And the first 2 we have on every application that comes before the board. They're really just reminders for the applicants to follow all state, local, and federal regulations. And then the third condition in this case is a reminder to apply for a sign permit from the building inspection office before any signs are actually installed on the property. And that's all that I had.
All right, thank you. And I believe I saw in here Ms. Townsend is present. I believe that's also the name here on the application. If they had anything they'd like to say or anything of that nature, that'd be fine.
I think you, hello, my name's Angelia Townsend. So sorry.
If she's going to be able to, I will need to swear her in.
I believe she has muted herself. There's also.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Sorry.
Ms. Townsend, if you could raise your right hand, please. A statement you're about to make, the truth to the best of your information and belief.
I will.
Thank you.
So we have just filed for this variance just due to being in the area and being a tenant in the building for 3 years. We have patients and parents. It makes it very difficult for them to find the building. And I think that Mr. Summers squared it up very well in saying, the shared drive does make it very difficult for people to find us. The shared drive is about approximately 200 feet from our front door. So if just traveling on Oxford Drive, if you pass our building, the parent would be an inconvenience in turning around, going back just to hit that shared drive. So I think it's all been kind of covered very well. Thank you for listening to us.
And thank you. Anybody from staff or the board, any comments or questions so far?
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. Was Ms. Townsend with the applicant or with the sign company?
The applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Well, if there's no further discussion or questions, I'll make a motion to approve the application based on staff recommendations.
I second.
I'm sorry, who did that?
Ursula.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing as there's been a second, we'll move it to a vote. All those in favor by sign of aye.
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 Okay, that's at least a few. I'm having trouble seeing everybody. I'm sorry.
I don't see nobody.
Held my hand up. I said aye.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe Zoom has gone through an update or something. It's
Yeah.
it's different than I'm used to. Well, all things considered, motion passes and application is accepted. Thank you all very much, and good luck with your new sign. And we'll move right along, Mr. Summers.
Thank you very much for your consideration. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Thank you. So the next application on the agenda is for 253 through 257 Ikebana Drive. The applicant is requesting a variance both on the east and the west sides to reduce the side yard setbacks. On the western side of the property, from what I could tell with the site plan, they were seeking to reduce the side yard setback from 7.5 feet to 4 feet. And then on the eastern side of the property, it looked like they were reducing the setback from 10 feet to 9 feet. The property is currently zoned R2. The lots in question in total are about 3/10 of an acre. Okay, so this site was approved, and I probably should have included the year. Oh, no, I did. I included the year in the final development plan. It was approved in 2017 as a townhome development. So as you can see, the developments on the east and the west side were both developed as townhomes. It'll be something similar here on these three lots at 253 through 257. The applicant, as I mentioned, is requesting a variance, and I included in the packet the site plan that the applicant submitted as part of their variance request, showing the three townhome units. I don't think that granting a variance would adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare. I guess my one somewhat reservation here, and I think it's something that the applicant could clarify for the board, with the application materials that I received, I didn't receive any sort of written justification supporting their application. So I didn't want to necessarily address that or put words in the applicant's mouth. So my hope is that once the applicant has a chance to speak, they can sort of state what difficulties there may have been with the lots when they begin developing the townhomes on these three particular lots. But if they're able to adequately address that to the board's satisfaction, I don't have any objections with recommending approval of the application with the three conditions that are listed there on the screen. The first two being the same as on the previous application. The third being very similar. Instead of a sign permit, just reminding the applicant that a building permit is needed from building inspection prior to any construction.
Mr. Chairman, if I can insert right quick, I need to inform the board. I have, or I represent Mr. Haddix in an unrelated matter. Has nothing to do with P&Z or Board of Adjustment or variances or anything. Nor have we spoken about this, nor have I, had any connection with it. Nor does my connection to him in another matter influence in any way the consideration of the application tonight. And that's all.
Well, I suppose we'll take you at your word, Mr. Perkins. And all that being said, I believe it seems that the applicant is here represented in the attendees. If Mr. Summers, you'd like to elevate them, maybe they can give some of that clarification you're asking for.
Yeah, he should be unmuted already.
Yep. All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Paul, would you raise your right hand, please? Statements you're about to make, are they the truth to the best of your information and belief?
I do.
Thank you.
Once again, good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Haddix with Haddix Construction. I'm asking for a variance on lots 253 through 257. The This plan, I changed the design from what's pictured and what I built earlier. It's a plan, the two outer units are similar to what I've built previously as single family in Ikebana. And the center piece, the center unit is similar to what is displayed like at 249 and 261. So anyway, it's a new concept, townhome design that I feel would be more desired for the community and price point that I'd like to offer to the community and prospective buyers. The problem with lots 253 through 257 is the curvature of the road, which makes the lots a little irregular towards the front, which I got, as we know, a small encroachment on the front left corner. This same design, which I'm going forward on lots 265 through 269, does fit and will fit going forward on future lots. So I'm asking for, and I'd like, and like I say, I pulled permits for lots 265 through 269 already, and we'll start shortly. But I'd like to ask your permission and acceptance for this variance, so I could offer the same design as what I'm building a few lots down. Offering, and please accept the variance as provided.
All right, thank you. Anybody else from the board have any questions for Mr. Haddix? Or have you received any comments to your office, Matt?
I did have one neighbor call this morning. I think he was maybe a little more curious about how the project site would be laid out. So I did end up emailing him a copy of the site plan that the applicant submitted as part of their application. But I guess I did not hear from that neighbor since then, and I don't see him on the Zoom call tonight.
If I may inject, he did reach out to me, Matt, earlier today.
Okay.
And requested the site plan, and I provided that site plan to him of where he lives currently, just to see how his townhome lays with in comparison to what I'm proposing. And he had no further comments. He reached back to me and said, thank you for all the information.
Okay, excellent.
I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendations.
I'll second.
Hey, motion's been made and seconded. We'll move it to a vote. All
Excuse me,
those.
a second, was that you, Barbara?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, motioned and taking a vote to approve the application based on staff recommendations as it's printed. All those in favor by sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Motion carries and the application is accepted. Thank you, Mr. Haddix.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
Let's see here. And then Mr. Summers. On to our next application, please.
Our next application is located at 111 Marketplace Circle. once again, we have a variance application. In this instance, the applicant is looking to allow a wall sign on a non-road frontage side of the building, somewhat similar to a previous application. And in this case, they're also looking to maybe split that wall sign into 2 smaller wall signs. I just wanted to make sure that we include that as part of the request, since that I guess is required as far as the way the ordinance reads. So the project site is zone B2, which is our highway commercial zoning district. The lot is just under 9/10 of an acre in size. I am recommending approval of the application, but we can kind of discuss it a little bit more. So this is the lot in question, just I guess to give us a sense of the location. It's out sort of near Kroger. You've got the bypass here on the south side of the property, Lusby Path coming up along the east side of the property, and then Marketplace Circle here along the north side of the lot. And it is this lot that in this aerial photo is under construction. What the applicant is seeking, actually, let me go back to that, is typically we would allow one wall sign per road frontage. The applicant is actually looking to take the wall sign that normally would have been on this eastern side of the building that would have faced Lusby Path and put it on the western side of the building. So this is what the western side of the building would look like if their variances are approved by this board. Their building is laid out such that, you know, all the bay doors and the entrance will face the western side of the property, and those buildings that are constructed along, I guess, to the west, rather than have the bay doors face Lusby Path and sort of the entrance to the commercial development. So it does make more sense for those signs to be, you know, over the entrance to the building where customers would go in, and over the bay doors, rather than, you know, face the side of the building that doesn't have any entrances, to put it somewhat simply. You know, I don't find that the requested variances would adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare. When I looked at sort of kind of similar to the previous application, what would allow the signage to best sort of let customers know which was the appropriate side of the building to enter from. You know, it clearly makes more sense for some of these signs to face the parking lot and be over the entrance and things like that. I also found, you know, as I demonstrated in the table in the staff report, that, you know, when you look at the total sign area that the applicant is requesting between the 2 signs, you know, it's less than the maximum size of sign that they could have otherwise applied for. So I am recommending approval of both the variances that they're requesting. So the variance to have it on a non-road frontage side of the building, as well as to allow them to basically just split that into 2 signs, because I think that they're both very reasonable requests and help to adequately advertise the use on the property. So I'm recommending approval of the variances with the 3 conditions listed on the screen there and in your staff reports. Those are the same 3 conditions that were on the first application this evening.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And if there's anybody here representing either the signage company or the applicant, feel free to speak, or if anybody has any other questions so far.
Hello, I'm hoping you can hear me. I'm Elizabeth Pitchford. I'm with Ruggles Sign.
Excuse me, Ms. Pitchford, if you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the statement you're about to make to be the truth, to the best of your information and belief?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your all's time this evening. As you can see, the staff report lays it out pretty well. Obviously, the building has been adjusted to make the entire development more aesthetically pleasing. So by putting the bay doors where obviously the customers will be coming on the opposite side from the street, we need to be able to direct the traffic appropriately. And getting those identifications on that side of the building, I think, is going to be extremely helpful. And again, the 2 signs that are requested are much less than the allowable square footage for the building. So I hope that you will see to approve these 2 variances. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Pitchford or just in general? I don't suppose you had any comments to your office, Matt, or otherwise?
No, I did not have any comments regarding this application.
Well, if there's no other questions, comments, or concerns, I'll make the motion to approve the application based on staff recommendations.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. We'll now move to a vote. All those in favor by sign of aye.
Aye.
That was Vicky's second.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Seems as though the motion carries. Application's been approved. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
And then Mr. Summers, I believe, is this our last application of the evening?
Yes, it should be.
All right, take it away. Thank you.
This application is located at 205 River Chase Path. It's actually part of sort of a larger apartment development, the overlook at Elkhorn Creek. The applicant is looking to reduce the rear yard setback for a single building from 25 feet to 20 feet. The project site is zoned R3, which is our high density residential, and the site is just under 13 acres in size. So this is an aerial photo showing the development. So Paris Pike is up here to the north. The traffic would come in via Scotland Drive. So they've actually built several of the units already, as you can see from the aerial imagery. And so there's sort of an additional, I went to the next slide, an additional series of buildings anticipated, following River Chase Path down to the south to finish out phases, I believe, 3 and 4 of the development. So looking at the site plan that the applicant provided to us, the variance request really is between these two existing buildings, and it arises because of the way the property lines were drawn to allow the applicant to phase the property. So you can see all these buildings here are labeled as existing buildings, and sort of they've been rotated, clockwise 90 degrees based from the aerial imagery we were looking at previously. So this existing building here is actually, I believe, building 102 here on the aerial imagery. So as part of their next phase of building, building 205 here will actually be closer than 25 feet to the property line that currently runs between the two buildings. So the applicant provided a more zoomed in version, a detail, if you will, showing those two buildings. Overall, the two buildings are going to be plenty far apart to meet, our requirements and the requirements of the fire department. So it's really just sort of an internal setback issue that sort of arises because of the way the project was phased. I don't find that approval of the variance would adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare. I think that it meets the requirements of state statute, and I am ultimately recommending approval of this application.
Thank you. And if anybody representing the applicant is in attendance, now would be a fine time to either make a statement or address any questions anybody from the panel may have.
Yes, my name is Seth Farmer. I'm with Carmen, representing the developer. It's just as Matt stated that
Excuse me, Mr. Farmer, could you raise your right hand first?
Yes.
Swear or affirm the statement you're about to make to be the truth, so to the best of your information and belief.
I do, yes.
Thank you, sir.
So as Mike described it pretty well, that I guess the issue with this side is that we're kind of bound with an existing building, an existing road on an internal development within this site. As a continuation of the final two phases of this project, phases 3 and 4, that will complete this development. So it's just a small area in the back. We still maintain all the separations that are required from fire or planning setbacks.
And Mr. Farmer, could you say it again, who you're with?
I'm with Carmen.
The engineering?
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody from the board have any questions, or were there any comments or concerns from the community, Matt?
I did hear from one property owner, but once I sort of described what the request was and that, it wasn't going to be near his property, he had no objections.
Right. It doesn't seem to be, again, anything but essentially a formality, technicality. It's all adjoins their own properties, essentially.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendations.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. We will move it to a vote. All those in favor of approval by sign of aye.
Aye.
Any of those opposed? Motion carries. Application has been accepted. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, guys.
I don't know if Mr. Perkins or Summers have any additional information, anything ongoing, appeals, etc.
I did have one additional item on our schedule of application dates and meeting dates, if this is a good time for you.
Yeah, that's fine, unless anybody else has anything to say about it.
So I will send a copy of this to you all. If it's approved at this meeting, the items in bold are ones that have been moved due to holidays. So I think there are a couple more that are affected this year than we would typically have. So our actual meeting dates are in the right-hand column. So you'll see the meeting that would have normally taken place on July 5th was moved due to the observance of the July 4th holiday. And the September meeting was adjusted due to the Labor Day holiday. And the same with the January 4th, 2022 meeting was moved due to the New Year's holiday in that year as well.
Okay, thank you. And it seems to me we still have at least one vacancy, I keep forgetting exactly how many we have. I don't suppose we have any news on that, do we?
No, I've not heard anything new from the mayor's office on that. I guess I can try to sort of gently reach out to them to see if they've had any success in locating a new board member for us.
Damon's not on the board anymore?
I believe he is. I just haven't seen him in a little while, but we do have one vacancy from when Mary Singer was moved to the Planning Commission.
Has anybody spoke with him at all? I know there's been occasions where he hasn't been in the best health. It's just a little slightly worrisome, I guess. I mean, it's really none of my business, but.
I haven't seen him.
Well, I'll ask around at school and see if anybody's talked to him. I will do that. But like I say, without speculating too much on anything else, I'll see what I can find out. I guess Matt, he's never emailed you and said, "Hey, I can't be there," or
No, I've not heard from him. I've not gotten any response in a while.
Okay, well, I'll try and see if I can't track down somebody who's more in touch with him socially. I think he's still working over at the other high school or the other campus, or somebody would know. Anything going on in appeals, Mr. Perkins?
Well, did we get a motion and second approving the schedule?
I'll make a motion to approve the schedule.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, sign of aye.
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 Okay, calendar has been approved.
Now,
Okay.
about the appeal, our response to their arguments has been submitted. The judge has taken it back to chambers and we'll hear when we hear. But as of right now, there's nothing going on except the judge. Well, I mean, as far as I know, he may already be looking at it, but I'm sure he's got lots of things to look at. So either he is or he's working toward it. More specific than that, I can't be. And we'll know when the judge decides he's figured it out.
So what's your thought on it, Charlie? Do you think we did wrong?
No, not at all. I don't know that it really makes a difference if we talk about this in open session. I tell you what, why don't we just do a motion second to go into closed session to discuss pending litigation involving 640 South Broadway, and then we'll talk briefly.
Okay.
Charlie, if we have that, I guess once we have that motion and vote, I will close the live stream, correct? Not the
Yes,
Zoom,
sir.
but the YouTube live stream.
Yes, sir. Well, all right, that poses a question, at least for me, because I don't understand Zoom so much. But once you close the live stream on YouTube, at that point, there are no other participants besides board members and a couple of staffers. So the only people who will hear what we talk about would be board members and a couple of staffers.
Correct.
Correct. I mean, since we would be in closed session, if somebody did happen to, I guess, join the meeting, let's say they were looking for a different application and joined late, I guess I could just remove them from the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like I'm gonna say something terribly
Yeah.
controversial anyway. But we do need a motion second.
So, okay, I'm sure I'm doing this right. I'd like to make a motion to move to closed session.
To discuss pending litigation involving 640 South Broadway.
Yes, legal words. Yes,
I'll
to discuss
second it.
pending legal litigation. Yes.
Was that Moore second?
Barbara Moore seconded.
Okay, thank you. Let me write this down, then I'll answer your questions.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.